All right, mate. Let's look here. Yeah, sorry, I had an important phone call there. Just a little bit late getting back. When you saying that? Yeah, 2 hours ago, an hour and a half ago. So 2 months stop hunt. Yeah, definitely should be taken seriously until proven otherwise. If it breaks below the stop hunt, then all bets are off. It needs to hold that stop hunt level. So it should be taken seriously until proven otherwise. Also, you said that on Coinbase, this is good. You want to see the volume on spot. 4 month candle, largest 4 month candle. Let's look at that. So we can see that a 3 month candle here, at least in the near term, it's not a good candle, right? It's not a great candle, and it's difficult to get a bounce from this. Can there be some small bounce? Yes, but you can see we had a very similar candle right down here as well. It's difficult to get a bounce. There is 23 days left in this. You can see that there was a slight bounce into the end of it there, and then we still continue to go sideways before going over. But you can see if you had bought right down there at the lows, like right, if you bought somewhere down in there, you can see if you held that into the next quarter, right, into the next quarter, well, price did bounce up and take liquidity in that previous candle, kind of implying if you were buying down in here and had the patience, price can bounce back up and take liquidity in here, bouncing to 20 to 22k, for example. If something similar plays out to here over the next quarter, that would mean from here into Christmas or whatever. So that is interesting at this point in time. You have to think something like that is very possible. So we'll look at the 4 month here first. It is a very nice candle. There's no question about that. And of course, the strategy does state that somewhere below here can be the buy point if using this chart and this 4 month. Like, I know nobody wants to hear this, but sometimes it's not good to be forcing trades when you look at the size of this candle. Now, granted, there's 3 months left in this. I shouldn't. It's a bad example actually here because we've only started this candle. But if we look at a 3 month candle, and if I just go back to a 3 month, like, a lot of times people force trades in this situation, and sometimes it's not very good. You can obviously, you can see there, if you're forcing trades in there, you probably got stopped out, or you probably lost patience, and it's difficult. Like, even this candle here was difficult. Even here, look at the small candle down here. Do you remember the bottom? Well, we all remember the bottom, I think. 2008, I'm sure most people were around back then, I think, or at least a lot of people. But you remember this when nothing happened, right? Absolutely nothing, and people, you either get chopped up, or you lose patience, or you lose heart, or you feel it's going to go lower, or there's so much can happen in these small volatile candles, and at this point, that I'm just doing that as a warning, because when you really try and force trades in a small candle like this, you can really get chopped up, and it's not ideal. The ideal situation would be, well, in my eyes, at this point, we need to see how we close in 23 days time. But my thought process would be something like this would be perfect. If we could pop down, stop hunt the lows, pop up, flip green again, and get long, and then that's when you can see real returns. That's when you can see real movement. Look at this line here. Look at this base here. Look at this. That was a neckline, or whatever you want to call that. It was support, but we have not retested that support yet. And at some point, I really do think, like, a lot of people are calling for 28k. It's because of this reason. And people are thinking here, but as mentioned, it's very unlikely to hit it here in this candle. We need a new 3 months to hit 28k, in my opinion. That's if we hit it then at all. It really depends on the close and everything else. Now, my prediction on Bitcoin was we were, I think we were in here, and I called for, and if you remember, putting a box down here. Below here, somewhere between 17k and 20k, I think was the call. Now, what I expected was, and what I said was, I think we drop, we bounce back up into, well, I pierced the red 200, I think, and then drop down and stop hunt these lows before coming back up, and that's That's the way I had it playing out. But you know, more and more data coming on board. We are just right into what I initially thought was going to happen. Do I still think it's going to happen? There's still a possibility. But I would say, you know, even if that it was going to happen, we need a new 3 months for that. But it's not very good. Like, this is not the greatest candle. It kind of implies it's still very weak and we can go lower. So my initial prediction, you know, I have to think that I'm open to being wrong on that, and this can now go lower down to 12k or whatever. 12k was my first prediction because it is the measured move. Now I'm getting sidetracked here, but if we look at computer seems to be running slow there for some reason. If we look at the measured move, and I don't know if it drew that properly, but you can see the measured move takes us right down here to 12k, and I might not drew that very well, but you can see my alarm down here. I thought I wrote maybe on my other platform, maybe on my other account I wrote it, but that should say measured move down here. In the short term though, you're talking about, you know, the stop on this. It's a big level. Honestly, it's a huge level here. Above, as long as we're holding above this green line, right? You know, technically this is bullish now, right? Technically above this level, and I had an alarm set right here at this low. I just want to get that right. Bloody hell, it's moving all over the place. I think that's pretty close. So above this green line, above 18,600, we'll call it, you know, Bitcoin is bullish. Now the Tether chart that you mentioned, it is extremely interesting because you know, look at this volume. It's well, look at the candle. Actually, sorry, this is the candle. Yeah, that's even more interesting. Look at this. Now again, look at this, very, very important as well. This was tweezer volume with a bearish stop hunt and tweezer volume. It implies at some point that the lows of this candle should be taken out, right? So the lows of the red candles should be taken out, and you can see we've done that. So the volume, this volume here, played true to its word and or true to what it should do, and pushed the price lower at some point. The other thing to take note of is we are red on the 2 week, right? So this is not going to flip green, and if it does flip green, it's not going to have a big move. If we are going to reverse, we are going to reverse on a new 2 week candle. Okay, there may be a small move up and form a doji here, kind of implying that, you know, even here that it's a knife catch right now. But if there's any signs of life, well, you know, just like here, you know, it was an inside bar, and then it was the new candle that moved up, right? It was the new candle on the new 2 week that moved the price up. The same thing is likely going to happen now. So I don't think there's any real panic, and even if it does bounce a small bit, the main move would be on a new 2 week candle. So think it's important and interesting. Look at this large candle down, and then the little inside bar. We never take out the lows, but the little inside bar then pushes the price higher. We didn't take out the lows yet, I should say. Now, where else do we have a little inside bar? Well, if we look at the 3 month chart, there is something similar here. And in 23 days time, we have a new candle. Maybe this one is the same, that we never take out the lows, right? If we turn green on a new 3 month, we need to be prepared to get long on this. At this point, even the 2 day candle is bearish, right? This is a bearish 2 week candle, or sorry, 2 day candle. But look, if you look here, there's in 8 hours time, there's a new 2 day candle. If we're going to bounce, that is potentially when it's going to be. I don't really see any reason to FOMO right now, but you want to be trading into a green candle, even if it's into a 2 day candle. It's still that much safer. Like even here, for example, you get this red candle down. You know, if you start trading into the green, yes, you didn't catch the very lows, but you can see that it was a lot safer in a way that, well, I mean, there was still a 30% bounce there. I'm not even saying you would catch it all, but you know, when you start seeing a bit of green here, you have to start thinking it's going to bounce up. Sometimes, and quite often, I should say, when you get a breakdown like this, sometimes you can get a failed move and you get a quick reversal back up, and then price kind of drifts away down here again and chops about, and then finally moves back up. And it's a difficult one, but it's catching the failed move maybe and potentially on a new 2-day candle, if we flip green, it might be worth getting long. If it's red, then you stay away. So it's just not an easy situation, to be honest. Like there's nothing clear cut about it, because if we look here, this is technically a bearish setup on a 6 month, but there's 3 months left on that, so we don't really need to worry about that yet. But it's always worth noting if we are red. Okay, it's always worth noting. So there's 23 days left on this, and this is more important. It kind of does suggest, if you look at the volume here, this is a Tether chart. I don't like using this Tether chart, but if you look at this volume here, it suggests that there may be a buy somewhere here, either below the candle or even below the whole lot, right? Even below down there somewhere, there can be a buy somewhere down below. Another thing to consider here is the futures chart has just had a stop hunt, right? This is the 3 month and 6 month stop hunts. This is potentially, it's potentially an amazing buying opportunity, right? It really is, but it looks like it won't hold, but sometimes these do hold, right? Sometimes they really do hold. If this bounces in the next 23 days up here, well, this has been the perfect buying opportunity right here, right now, today, with a stop below this candle right here. It needs to hold this level. It needs to hold above this green line. Let's measure that. This is the futures chart, by the way, the CME futures. So on a new day or whatever, if there's any dip down in here, like you can see there, that's a 1% risk. That just flipped green right there. That's about a 1% risk. If there's any dip down here, it's going to lower that buy, obviously. That monthly, look at that. Where was I? So I lost track of what I was doing there. Where was? Yeah, the daily just flipped green. Yeah. Like if we get a decent bounce into the end of the month, 25 days, if we can bounce decently, or even 3 or 4% bounce into the end of the month, there is nothing then from stopping this on a new month doing something like this, right? That's the stock market looks like it wants to go lower. A lot of the market, may still not be looking great, but at the same time, you always need to be open to something like this happening. The line in the sand is clear and crystal, and it is right here. Price needs to hold above this 18,545 level right here, and that's the same as here. You can see right here, and price is actually moving as I'm making this video now. This is into a 10-minute apex right here. So I mean, that's your line. You can see your line in the sand right here. So that is, that's the line in the sand. Can we bounce from here and bounce up? Can this level hold? It is very possible. This is a stop hunt of a major candle, the candle that took liquidity. This candle took liquidity in this wick. We are coming down, stop hunting the liquidity grab, right? So we are stop hunting the liquidity move down here. So a lot of times that can often give a bounce. If we look at it, and I mentioned this earlier today, if we look at here, well, it looks like here. I know we have 25 days left, which is the difference at this point, but you can see this bearish stop hunt, and we had a bearish stop hunt right here as well. I didn't draw it very straight, but the bearish stop hunt is in there right here on that, and you can see you get the bearish candle down, you get this bearish candle rejection down, and then you get the second red candle back down. But if you had bought down in the bottom of the red candle down into the previous low somewhere, well, the market bounced back up. But this red candle did come down to the lows, right? It came right down to the lows. This candle has not come down to the lows just yet. But then it said that the next month was a bounce back up. This one right here. This 3-day candle right here, in theory needs to hold green. If this starts flipping red again, well then, bets are off and you probably need to get back out of the trade. If taking a long position, stop loss would probably go below this 3-day candle. What would be expected for this to do well is this 3-day candle needs to finish strong and needs to finish up here, and if that finishes up there, well, there's a possibility of further upside. Yeah, sorry for the long video. It's honestly, it's a really tricky situation. I personally do not think there's going to be too much of a bounce until a new 3 month candle. I think this is forming a small candle, but the question is, can there be a small bounce and then some continuation on the next month, like we got here, for example? You know, that if you did buy the lows down here, you did get that bounce up and to take liquidity into the next candle, and that would be you know, into 22,000 area here if something similar happened. But you needed quite a lot of patience to even get that. That was into the next quarter. You need to remember, we are red on the month, we are red on the 2 week, we are red on the 5 day, we're red on the week, we're red on the 5 day, and we're red on the 4 day. One way of doing it would be to maybe trade, if you want to play it safe, well, try and not catch a knife, and maybe trade it if it's green next week. Like you can see here, this red candle stayed red, but the next week it opened up, flipped green, and we got to bounce back up. That would be probably the safe way to do it.